If you are asked what dish symbolizes Korea the most, it will be impossible not to say kimchi. Kimchi is one of the most recognizable Korean dishes all over the world, with the world charmed by its pungent and fiery goodness. A universal delicacy with very old roots, kimchi graced the dishes of the ancient royal courts and commoners alike, and enjoyed today by the modern generation. Now, that is an extraordinary feat, especially for a pickled vegetable.
Excuse me.
Welcome to Foodie Legends, your go to source for the best foods to eat around the world and its history. Join us as we dive into the story of kimchi and how you can make kimchi in the comfort of your home. Spicy, sour, and salty. That's how we know kimchi. But did you know that it didn't used to be sweating hot? 2,000 years ago, back when refrigeration wasn't a thing, Koreans pickled their vegetables as a way of preservation. But chili peppers were not native to Korea, so they used to soak the vegetables in brine and beef broth. By the 1600s to 1800s, kimchi, as we know it, began to evolve when chili peppers and other herbs and spices were introduced, revolutionizing the dish. Kimchi grew in popularity because Buddhism became a major part of ancient Korean life at the time, and so it called for a main vegetarian diet. Later on, kimchi became a popular side dish in grill parties and hot pots. You can even eat kimchi with a bowl of rice and still be satisfied. Kimchi is the ultimate wingman and at the same time, the main character. Kimchi has many varieties, depending on which type of vegetable you decide to kimchify. However, the most common variant of kimchi is the one made with napa cabbage. This variety is the one we associate the most with kimchi, although it is just one of the many. The kimchi made with napa cabbage is known as Baechu-Kimchi, arguably the most essential side dish in a classic Korean meal. Preparing Baechu-Kimchi is a game of patience. The one who will prepare this dish must be meticulous in finding the good ingredients that can survive the entire process to prevent spoilage and the entire ruin of the time and effort involved. There are three important components to this dish: the cabbage, the salt, and the spicy coating. In making Baechu-Kimchi, you'll need 6 pounds of napa cabbage, 1/2 cup of natural sea salt. Kosher salt is a good alternative. 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of glutinous rice flour, 2 tablespoons of brown or white sugar, 2 cups of Korean radish sliced into matchsticks, 1 cup of carrots sliced into matchsticks, 8 green onions chopped, 1/2 cup of garlic cloves, 2 teaspoons of ginger minced, 1 medium onion minced, 1/2 cup fish sauce, 1/4 cup fermented salted shrimp, and 2 cups of red chili pepper flakes or gochugaru. First, the cabbage. It is important to find the freshest napa cabbage in the market, free of blemishes. After washing the cabbage, the bottom of the cabbage must be trimmed carefully, leaving the core intact. Then, the core is splitted to 6 inches deep, so you can rip the cabbage in half by prying it with your thumbs in opposite directions. You just need to do it again to quarter the entire napa cabbage, so in that way, you don't damage the leaves too much. Removing the water in the cabbage is an unskippable step in making Baechu-Kimchi. Some Korean cooks do it by just sprinkling the salt directly on the napa cabbage. Salt draws out moisture and also imparts the cabbage with some saltiness. However, if you want to have each leaf infused with salt and every cranny drained of moisture, other cooks prefer to use the brining method so that no leaf is left unturned, or whatever the proverb means. You just need to cover the cabbages with the brine, moving its container occasionally so that those unexposed spots can get some of those salty mixture. The brine will draw out the moisture from the cabbage, hence preparing it for the next step, the spicy slurry. You can make your gochugaru slurry by combining gochugaru chili flakes, fish sauce, salted shrimp, sugar, and glutinous rice paste, minced ginger and garlic, onion and scallions. Once you get everything ready, you rinse the brined cabbages. Now, you need to evenly coat the surface of the cabbage with the gochugaru mixture, massaging it until every inch is coated by the red seasoning. Then, you roll it like a cinnamon roll, packing the rolls tightly in the container. The gochugaru mixture will do its work, encouraging good bacterial work for the fermentation process, and at the same time, infusing the cabbage with spicy goodness. What you need is a good container for this kimchi. It must be kept away from the sunlight and the temperature must be low, somewhere between 4 to 6 degrees Celsius, lasting from 3 to 21 days. If you want to do it the traditional way, kimchi is usually stored in earthen pots called Jangdok or ongi. You can actually purchase Jangdok on Amazon under the brand GoodDayLiving. Made in the traditional way, GoodDayLiving's traditional fermenting jar has a proper lid that prevents too much air and sunlight from penetrating the kimchi and spoiling it. For $48, you can ferment your kimchi as authentic as it can be.
That's bloody good value.
Baechu-Kimchi is not the only kimchi variant out there, although it surely is one of the most popular. Diced radish kimchi, also known as Kkakdugi, is also a favorite side dish in the Korean table, with just the perfect amount of crunch, spiciness, and sourness. A long time ago, back in the reign of the Goryeo dynasty, a poet named Yi Gyubu wrote this poem about radish. Pickled radish slices make a good summer side dish. Radish preserved in salt is a winter side dish from start to end. The roots of the earth grow plumper every day. Harvesting after the frost, a slice cut by a knife tastes like a pear. Radish has been a staple in the Korean peninsula for a long time. References citing the origin of radish kimchi are recorded in a cookbook titled Joseon Yoriha, which literally means Korean gastronomy. According to this book, it is said that Kkakdugi was invented by Princess Suksan, the daughter of King Jongjo. When the king tasted this new dish and asked his daughter its name, Princess Suksan simply said that she did not give it one because she accidentally made it and it tasted good. So King Jongjo decided that the dish should be named Kkakdugi because cutting food into cubes is called gakduk-solgi in the Korean language. It became popular to the royals and commoners alike, and the rest is history. Preparing kkakdugi is almost the same with Baechu-Kimchi, and both kimchi variants are basically almost similar with each other. However, kkakdugi has a noticeably crunchier texture and a subtle sweet hint to it because of the main ingredient used for this dish. In preparing this spicy dish, you need 4 pounds Korean radish. Daikon is a good substitute. Slice into cubes. 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1/4 cup of fish sauce. 2/3 cups of gochugaru flakes. 4 stalks of green onions, chopped. 5 to 6 cloves of garlic, minced. 1 teaspoon of minced ginger. First, wash and peel your Korean radish and slice into cubes. Put your cubed radish slices in a bowl and add salt to draw out the moisture. Only drain the excess liquid once you're ready to season the radish with your spice blend. Meanwhile, you can leave the radish for a while at room temperature while you prepare the gochugaru mixture. Making the gochugaru mixture for kkakdugi requires gochugaru, garlic, green onions, and ginger, flavored by fish sauce and sugar. You just need to mix all of it until you form a singular red sauce, pouring it all over the cubed Korean radish. You will then mix it by hand and put the entire thing in a fermenting container and leave it for the microbe roast to do its work. You can eat it almost immediately or just let it ferment for a while, depending on how strong you want it to be.
Perfect.
If you prefer to make your kkakdugi the easy way, you can have one of Egen's Premium Kimchi and sauerkraut container with inner vacuum lid. Convenient for home use. Egen's alternative kimchi vessel for the traditional ongi may just be the best pick for you. Combining the principles of traditional Korean earthenware and the wonders of modern technology, this kimchi container is made with polypropylene plastic. With its ergonomic shape, it is easier to store in the refrigerator, piling it with your other containers, and aside from that, it has a double lid that keeps the odor from leaking to your kitchen and to your neighbor's window. Most importantly, Egen's Premium Kimchi and Sauerkraut container has an adjustable inner pressing plate that regulates the air inside the container, which helps the probiotics in the process of fermentation.
Sweet.
Once you have your kkakdugi ready, you can enjoy its crunchy goodness with your choice of barbecue and soup. Have a go at it! Aside from being a popular banchan in Korean grills and soups, kimchi has other uses as well. Do you have a platter of leftover rice chilling on your fridge? Some spam, canned meat, and other stuff that you forgot to use for some time but still edible? Don't worry, because you can combine all of these to make something incredibly tasty.
Bit spicy.
Kimchi fried rice, also known as kimchi bokkeumbap, is a popular dish especially among South Korean students because of how easy it is to cook. And you can find most of the ingredients in the fridge, and it is just plain affordable. Kimchi is also a mainstay staple in a Korean pantry, so you won't find it very hard to have a jar of this spicy delight ready for use. As with other fried rice dishes, kimchi bokkeumbap is very fast and easy to cook, but you need to be extremely careful when cooking it. You don't want bits of rice stock on the pan or a mushy fried rice. Nobody wants that, right? Making kimchi fried rice is pretty basic, and you can improvise all you want. Preparing this dish in its basic form requires the following: 2 tablespoons of canola oil, 1 cup of kimchi sliced to small pieces, 2 tablespoons of kimchi juice, 1.5 cups of leftover rice.
Wanna cook?
First, you need to chop your kimchi into smaller pieces, straining excess liquid to prevent the fried rice from being too soggy. Once you finish doing the first step, all you need to do is to stir-fry the chopped kimchi on a hot pan. Then the chilled leftover rice is added to the party. Continue stir-frying and mixing the kimchi and the rice for the two to mingle with each other. And then you add a little bit of the kimchi juice for added flavor. Basically, your base kimchi fried rice is done, although you can top it with other add-ons such as green onions, dried seaweed, and sesame seeds. You can also season your kimchi fried rice with a small amount of garlic and onion. But just remember that kimchi on its own is already heavy with flavor, so just be careful to avoid over-seasoning. Traditionally, most fried rice dishes are cooked in woks to impart the rice grains with the wok hay, also known as the breath of the wok. However, cooking with a wok can be pretty challenging, especially for casual home cooks. MUSENTIAL's non-stick frying pan skillet is just the perfect alternative for aspiring master chefs. just in the comfort of their homes. Imbibed with ceramic reinforced non-stick coating, you don't have to worry about the rice sticking at the bottom of the pan. And you can also use it both in gas and ceramic stovetops. This is one of the most versatile tools that you can have while enjoying cooking your kimchi fried rice. Thanks again for tuning in with us here today at Foodie Legends for our latest episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history of kimchi and some of the recipes that you can try at your home. Do you have your own take in making this spicy delight? Feel free to share it on our comment section. Also, be sure to like this video and click the subscribe button for more delicious contents every week. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.